Sorry I missed last week's upload. I just didn't have any time last week to work on any videos. But anyway, let's start talking about the Shikigami and JJK. Typically I would list these from strongest to weakest, but this time I thought I would talk about all the Shikigami we see besides the 10 Shadow Shikigami, and then I would talk about the 10 Shadow Shikigami. At the end, I will talk about what I think to be the top 5 Shikigami. So if you are curious about power scaling, I will do a little bit of that at the end. But I hope you enjoy the video. Let's get into it. I wanted to start this list with the Shikigami that we see that old guy summon. The one who fought young Geto and hid an inventory. We don't actually know what this Shikigami does, but, it's kind of hard to say anything about it, because we just get to see it and then it immediately dies to Geto. And, Geto's really broken, but, that doesn't really mean anything in this context, because we didn't see it move, we didn't see it talked up, we thought nothing about it, really. We saw its design, and that's it. In Dagon's domain, we get to see him summon swarms of Shikigami. They seem pretty strong. They can do good damage to really powerful first grades like Nobito and Nanami. And they're also invisible until they land contact with you, or at least some of them are. Some can be visible and some can't. It's all up to how Dagon decides. They're also kind of hard to power scale, because we only ever get to see them in Dagon's domain, which does give them a boost in power. But on the other hand, I don't think they work outside of it. So I think you have to take it into context of the domain. So it's a pretty powerful Shikigami, but on its own, if it's just one of them, I don't think it's that strong. I think it's mainly good because of the amount of numbers it had. There were just so many of them, and they still couldn't do too much to Nanami or Nobito. Nanami still made it out with, full, he basically survived flawlessly. Nobito lost an arm. That's about it. For anyone who doesn't remember, Moondrag is the Shikigami that Junpei uses in, the one fight we see him in. And it's kind of hard to gauge how strong it is, because what could be its best ability is this poison, but the best thing we see it do is just be a cushion for Junpei, the time he fell off the building, the time he was getting punched by Yuji. And even these aren't great feats. This is pre-Shibuya Yuji, where he's not that strong. And yeah, the two floor drop is pretty impressive, but it's nothing too crazy in the context of JJK. And it does have the poison, but it's really hard to tell what the strength of it is. The only people we ever see it used on is Yuji, who is immune to poisons, and then normal humans who have no form of resistance at all to poison, so they're highly susceptible to it. So it's really hard to gauge it in strength, in the context of JJK. It's really difficult to, talk about this one. We only ever see it used by Junpei, and Junpei is reasonably weak. No, he is weak. He sucks as a sorcerer. And this Shikigami did not help him. Judgment's our first manga-only Shikigami we see, but from what I could find, Higuruma can summon him whenever he needs. But it seems his only purpose is to help Higuruma in his domain deadly sentencing by giving him evidence in their court case. It doesn't seem like the Shikigami has almost any physical capabilities. It probably could take a hit, it could probably punch basics, but it doesn't have anything that cool like Garuda, Rika, or even Junpei's Moondrag. It just doesn't seem that amazing. It seems kind of like a support Shikigami, and it seems like it only really works in Higuruma's domain. So, it's reasonably strong, I guess. Garuda is Yuki's Shikigami. Because of this, Garuda is very powerful, because Yuki can imbue her technique Star Rage into Garuda. This allows Garuda to change shape and practically hit as hard as needed for the situation. If you want to know more about Yuki, go and check out the Special Grade Sorcerer video, links in this description. I also have a bit of an explanation on how Star Rage works if you're a bit more curious. But yeah, Garuda is an amazing Shikigami because it's super versatile. It can become a whip, a ball, or practically anything that Yuki really needs. And because of Star Rage, it can hit really hard. Rika is our last non-10 Shadow Shikigami. Rika is also one of the strongest Shikigami due to her immense pool of cursed energy. She is also very physically strong, even being able to throw massive rocks like bridges or whatever. Her laser attack is one of the strongest attacks we see in JJK. It rivals things like Maximum Uzumaki and maybe Hollow Purple, possibly Fire Arrow. In my opinion, though, her best power or ability, whatever you want to call it, is her support power to carry cursed techniques and cursed tools, or just whatever Yuta needs. Rika is great in offensive situation and in support roles. That's the main reason why I think she's so good in a fight. But it is kind of hard to gauge her strength because the only time we ever get to see her fight is with Yuta, and he's one of the strongest characters in the entire show, if not just the franchise. But she is still very strong on her own. The bulk of the Shikigami we gotta talk about today are the 10 Shadow Shikigami, so I'm so excited we're finally just getting to those, because those are going to take the most time out of the video. So let's just get into it. Divine Dogs are the first Shikigami we see in JJK, and the first 10 Shadow Shikigami we see. I thought it'd be fun to talk about them in order we saw them in the show, so that's why I'm starting with Divine Dogs. But anyway, they appear relatively powerful. Like, they can damage pretty good special grades like Hanami with their jaws or claws. But the really cool part is, if one of the two dogs dies, then they combine to create Divine Dog's Totality. This is the Shikigami that was able to hurt Hanami. I'm not sure how great they are individually, but together they are really strong. And that's the one I really want to talk about, them combined opposed to separated. Nue's power is kind of confusing, and what I mean by that is like its power level, because when Megami was using it, Nue was really like average, like nothing too crazy, nothing too bad. But when we saw Sukuna use it, it was like 10 times the size with 10 times the power. So it's really based off the user, it seems. Like, Nue can fly and has fairly weak lightning under Megami's control. But under Sukuna's, like, people can ride on it. It creates like thunderstorms. It's really interesting to see like the variation in power. I don't know, like, at least the like Megami and Sukuna, it seems that the lightning can stun like pretty weak enemies. Like, nothing too strong, nothing too weak either, I guess. Like, that's the thing when talking about this one's like power scaling, is that Sukuna's would be like top few Shikigami, but Megami's would be like average. It's just like in the middle. The issue when talking about Great Serpent is the only time we ever got to see it was against Sukuna, and like it's Sukuna, it died immediately, really. It was able to restrain him for a little bit, like it was 3-finger Sukuna, so, you know, it's not saying too much. But under Megami's control, like, it seems to just be restraining people. It doesn't seem like it can do too much damage, really. Like, I can't say for sure, because we never really saw it under, like, a combat setting. We saw it just as, like, a restraint, so Nue could do some damage. But, like, it probably could do some good damage, like, with its jaw strength, just due to its size. Like, it'd probably wrap people up, too, and, like, it's kind of hard to talk about. Like, a lot of with this one would be, like, theoretical talk. It's not too strong, it's not too weak. That's all I can really say. Toad is an amazing support Shikigami, being able to help with mobility, combat, rescues, and restraints. Toad could also probably be used as like a shield because of its size and build. If a teammate is like injured, Toad could carry them back safely in its mouth. And like, it's just really interesting how cool and how supportive Toad really can be. Like, when you're thinking powerful Shikigami, Toad is not one that comes to mind, but it really is just an amazing support Shikigami. Max Elephant is typically used as like a weight, but it also has a strong water attack. This is a fairly strong Shikigami due to its, well, fat, its height, its weight, and its water blast. If Max Elephant is dropped on an opponent, it would flatten most sorcerers we see. The biggest problem with this Shikigami is the amount of cursed energy it costs to summon. This isn't weak, it's a pretty good Shikigami, but it's just not quite worth the cost it takes to summon it. Rabbit Escape is easily the cheapest of the 10 Shadow Shikigami, and probably out of every Shikigami we see in JJK, but that actually works in his favor, because just one rabbit would be the weakest Shikigami in the entire show, entire franchise, whatever you want to say. But since you can summon so many of them with like no drawbacks, it becomes one of the best Shikigami. It's just so versatile. You can do practically anything. You can summon like walls, towers, weapons, you know, like movement, scales, whatever you really want to summon, you can out of rabbits. Like, I guess that's not the right term to use. It's just such a versatile Shikigami, and you can use it in any way you want. In my opinion, it's probably the most versatile of every Shikigami, so that's why I think it's that strong. Maharaga is probably the main reason most of you clicked on this video. He is easily the strongest Shikigami in JJK. It's just, his power to adapt is just so amazing, versatile, whatever you want to call it. It's because, like, no matter what you are, most of your abilities can be nullified by it, except for a few like Hollow Purple, Fire Arrow, Rika's Laser. Besides that, Maharaga could easily beat almost every character in JJK. Maybe Mystic Beast Amber could beat it. But that's my point, is that a lot of them just would instantly lose to him because of adapting. It can heal through almost everything. Like, he can even heal through, like, Malevolent Shrine. Like, I know Malevolent Shrine isn't just, like, one big attack, which is what you need to kill Maharaga. But, like, that's still insane. Like, that's tied for the best domain. And, like, not even, like, on top of that, the sword on Maharaga's hand is coated in positive energy, meaning whenever it hits any cursed spirit, it's like an insta-kill. Like, that's the thing. Maharaga is just so broken. Like, just watch the Sukuna versus Maharaga fight if you really want to, like, test me. Like, I would die on this hill. He's probably, like, top 5 characters. Maybe, he's easily top 10, maybe top 5. Round Deer doesn't seem to have any offensive capabilities. Like, obviously it has some, just like being a deer. But its main strength is as a healer. It can heal itself with incredible ease, and heal basically whoever summoned it with amazing ease. Just the ability to output positive energy is so strong on its own. But when it's this powerful, like, that just makes it one of the better Shikigamis. Like, offensively, it's probably one of the worst. But it is easily it's probably, like, top 3 for support Shikigamis. Also, like, the positive energy outputs can also just neutralize cursed energy, which, can be good, but that's kind of hard to explain, like, what that really does. It's just, like, a really solid Shikigami. Nothing too crazy, nothing too poor. Piercing Ox is an interesting Shikigami because of how his power works. Basically, the longer it runs in a straight line without moving at all, basically, it just keeps gaining power. So it can be really weak, or the strongest attack in all of JJK. Like, that's the thing. It either will do almost nothing in your fight, or be the biggest contributor. That's what makes this Shikigami really hard to, like, gauge. I just wanted to mention Tiger Funeral because it is a Shikigami, but we never get to see what it does, its design, or really anything about it. We just get it mentioned by Sukuna. I just wanted to mention it because it is a Shikigami, and this is a Shikigami video. Our last few Shikigamis are combinations of the 10 Shadow Shikigamis. The first one I have to talk about is the Wells Unknown Abyss. It is a combination of Nue and Toad, which are both pretty solid Shikigamis. It has almost all the powers of Toad, except it's a bit smaller, and it can fly. It doesn't have the lightning power from Nue, and it's not as big, so it can't be really used as a defensive shield anymore. I do think this makes it just a little worse than Toad, and a little worse than Nue on their own. Like, it's pretty interesting, and it's pretty good for, like, set, like, just certain situations, but typically I think you'd rather run with Toad and Nue. I just don't feel like this is that great of a Shikigami. The last Shikigami on our list is Merge Beast Agito. Agito is a combination of Nue, Round Ear, Tiger Funeral, and Great Serpent. Agito produces lightning and can heal himself and his user. He gets his healing power from Round Ear and his lightning from Nue. And I believe he gets his strength from Great Serpent and Tiger Funeral. He is a very powerful Shikigami. Like, he can practically just shoot lightning. It's not like an area effect like Nue's. He's pretty durable, and this combination I do think is actually better than his components. That's kind of hard to guess because we don't know how good Tiger Funeral is. I'm just saying Agito is really strong. Today we looked at 18 Shikigami, and I think the top 5 are Maharaga at number 1, Rika at number 2, Agito at 3, Garuda at 4, and Rabbit Escape at number 5. It's just, Rabbit Escape has so much versatility, and there's just so many of them if you want. But I want to say, if you like this video, I just started a new podcast. Link should be in the description if I can figure it out. And I also have videos going over cursed spirits and special grade sorcerers. So thank you all for watching. It'd be awesome if you could check those out, and bye.